Okay, so mom won't let dad see the kids. All right. So, I mean, this could be dad not letting mom see the kids, but most of the time, let's face it, it's mom not letting dad see the kids. And, what do you do? What are you supposed to do? I mean, this is probably one of the most common issues that I have people, coming into my office, bringing to my attention that they're going through. And, not every case, every case is different. There's no two cases that are alike, but there's patterns. There's the most common issues that I see where, the allegations that mom's making against dad, and I'm going to touch on those in this video. And by the end of this video, I think you're going to have a really good kind of grasp on, what to expect if you're getting ready for a breakup, getting ready for a divorce. You think it's going to be nasty, you think it's going to be ugly. What do you do? All right. So first off, nothing in this video is going to constitute legal advice. I am a family law attorney. I'm licensed to practice in the state of Florida. I don't offer, I don't make any guarantees about the applicability of this outside the state of Florida. But in my experience, it's pretty much, this is tactical strategy that I'm going to go over in this video. And it's stuff that can be applied all over the place, everywhere. But you always want to talk to an attorney in your jurisdiction to get the nuances and, the really granular stuff that applies in your area. Okay, now that that's out of the way. So, again, this could be a divorce situation. This could be a breakup where you guys have kids, but you're not married. This could be a situation where you didn't know you had a kid and you just found out. And so you're trying to contact mom to have a relationship with this kid for whatever reason, right? This applies across the board. So first and foremost, the thing you got to understand, the thing you got to be ready for is when the breakup happens, when the divorce gets filed, whatever, there's going to be stuff that happened during the relationship that was okay. It was fine. You come home and you drink a few beers, you go out on Friday night, you smoke weed, maybe you and mom party once in a while. Maybe there was that time you got in a fight when you guys were out, or maybe there was a time where, you and her got in an argument. All right, and y'all were yelling at each other, but you were fine the next day. Or there was a time that you got mad and you spanked your child, right? And everything was fine the next day, in the relationship. All those little things are when you're going through the divorce or you're going through the breakup, or someone has to. There's a fight over time with the kids. All that stuff, you got to be ready. Everything that you've ever done that was perfectly fine during the relationship, that wasn't a big deal during the relationship, is suddenly going to be, dragged out into the light and magnified as though it's this horrible, abusive, monstrous thing that you did. All right, just be ready for that. And if you haven't gone through the breakup yet, just kind of, be conscious of that. Everything is potentially going to be, everything you've ever done or said, every mistake you've ever made as a parent, which, look, I got a bunch of kids, and I'll tell you, no parent is perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect parent. Everyone's made mistakes. Just be prepared. Your mistakes as dad are going to be highlighted and thrown against you and used against you in any way that is possible. And here's the reason why at the end of the day. It's because the other parent is basically, they want to be that, they want and need to be that majority parent. There could be a bunch of reasons. They could have control issues, right? That's the most common one that I see. They might have a new significant other that they just want to kind of replace as dad. Like they want to erase you and insert new significant other as dad. I see that, a lot. That is super common. You need to be ready for that. I see situations where the other parent just wants to get maximum amount of child support. And so they know that if they can keep your overnights with your kid minimal, that they're going to, get more child support out of you in the court case. And so there could be 1,000 other reasons why. Okay, maybe they don't get along with your parents or your brother or whatever, and they just want to be rid of that inconvenience in their life. But hey, they had a kid with you, so it's not that easy. You're not going to be. You just can't get rid of the other parent. You have to put on your big girl or big boy pants and deal with them until the kid's 18. A lot of people just refuse to acknowledge that is their reality, but it is. All right, so anyway, let's get to the real meat of let's get to the good stuff here. All right, so let's say you're going through a divorce, you're going through a breakup, whatever. Most common allegations, okay, it's going to be, hey, this person, committed domestic violence against me, right? This person's violent. This person's got a short temper, right? And they're going to point to that one time, like 5 years ago, where you guys y'all went out drinking and you came home, you got in an argument, and the police got called, right? No one went to jail. There was no injuries. You never put your hands on her. It's just cops showed up. They were there for 5 minutes. They said, guys, keep it down, and they left. And then you guys, maybe hooked up that night and everything was hunky-dory the next day. So, yeah, that incident, that's probably going to come up. Oh, my God, there was this time 5 years ago where he put his hands on me and he was, super violent, super scary, and super aggressive. And they'll be printing out all the text messages that you've ever sent to them, throughout the history of your relationship where you were pissed off. Maybe they were baiting you into an argument. They were gaslighting you, and then you got pissed off and you reacted, and you sent that FUB, text back. They're going to print that. They're going to, use that. They won't print the whole conversation. It'll just be the one text where you reacted, right? And then they'll point to that as, oh, here's another text from last year in June where, he called me an F and B and told me to shut the F up, right? This is how he talks. He's super violent. He's super aggressive. And you just gotta understand that this is common. This is super common. If things go to court, right? If you guys are heading to court, the other parent's got to prove all this stuff. Like the judge is not going to tell you that you're not going to have a relationship with your kids, or you're not going to have that much time with your kids based on just verbal allegations, right? It's a bunch of hot air. It has to be proven, right? So she's got to prove that you're this super aggressive person. I'll tell you what, in my experience, most judges, they're not trying to hear that. They understand good and damn well that that relationships are hard, that parenting a child is hard, and there's gonna be times where y'all get in an argument, y'all get in a fight, right? But I mean, if there's no, with that allegation about domestic violence, if you didn't get arrested and there's no photographs of bruises or anything, right? She didn't go to the hospital, and you've got evidence where on social media 2 days later you guys were at Disney having fun, and you guys were out on celebrating your anniversary, and she put it on Facebook about how great you are and how much she loves you, and that happened 2 days later. The judge is going to know that nothing happened here. Look at she was fine. The photo of you guys 4 days later where you were on your anniversary dinner or whatever, or you're on an anniversary cruise, she didn't look scared of you. I mean, that's the kind of evidence that you want to start gathering to show, look, this is bullshit, Your Honor. This is just posturing so that she gets the majority with the kids, right? So, I mean, that's the most common thing you're going to see, in an allegation. Number one, first and foremost, and that's the kind of evidence you want to look for. You want to look at people's conduct, and this applies on all these allegations. You want to take the allegation, and you want to say, okay, now if somebody was making a legit allegation against someone, how would that person be acting, right? If I was accusing my ex of abuse or neglect of our small child, right? How would I act? Well, first, I would never let that person be alone with our kid, right? Even if we continued to live in the same house together, that person would never be alone with my kid. I mean, as a parent, you just think it's common sense, right? Now, if you're being accused of an abusive incident against your child on May 13th of 2022, right? But you have social media evidence or photo evidence that, on the very next day, like the other parent went to work and you were home all day babysitting the kid as usual, like you were the child care. I mean, that's pretty eye-opening about the true concern that the other parent had that an abusive incident actually took place. It's like, you're saying that on May 13th, he abused your kid, but on May 14th, You went to work and had him watching your kid all day, and the whole rest of the week you were leaving him alone with the kids. So how abusive could you really have thought that situation was? You didn't. It's simple. You didn't. So you want to really think about the conduct of the other parent, the parent who's making these allegations, after the alleged incident took place, right? And then what can you prove? And these days with social media and with iPhones that can hold thousands and thousands and thousands of photos and videos and stuff. I mean, you just scroll through her Facebook, your Facebook, and then your iPhone pictures, and you probably got evidence to show that you're a great safe parent, right? So that's the first one. Is allegations of domestic violence, allegations that you're aggressive or mean, and you have a short temper, and you're somehow unsafe to be around your kid, right? The next one is going to be drug use, alcoholism. That's a really common one. You're going to be accused of, hey, maybe you guys smoked weed together during a relationship. Maybe she stopped after she got pregnant, and maybe you kept drinking, but it was fine. Never complained about it during the relationship. You never got a DUI. It was never a big deal. You were never arrested for anything. She never brought it up. I mean, it's just she condoned it during the relationship. But now suddenly you're out of the relationship. You're wanting court-ordered time with your kid. And now all of a sudden, oh my God, he's this horrifying alcoholic. He smokes pot all the time. I think he's sniffing powder. I think he's smoking crack. I think he's popping pills. Whatever, right? Whatever. Just be ready for that. Like if you have a personal life where you get high and you drink a lot, just be ready. That is absolutely going to be used as something to beat you over the head with when you're trying to get court-ordered time with the kids. Again, something that's really huge here is the fact that the other parent most likely condoned it when you were together in the relationship. They didn't really raise hell about it. They didn't make a big deal about it. They probably partook in it, whatever it was. And, now that you're going through the custody case, you just have to demonstrate that you are not allowing, and again, this isn't legal advice. This is just my personal experience, okay? Most judges are going to say, look, I'm not going to get involved in telling other people, other human beings, what they can or can't do in their personal time, right? I will only get involved to the extent that those personal decisions are influencing or affecting the child's emotional or physical safety. So, the really good case law that I've come across that really gives a good example of this is, that the husband who, liked to frequent prostitutes, right? He, went to trial on their custody case, and he said, yeah, I spend my spare time with prostitutes, just what I do. It's something I do, but I don't do it on the days that I have my kid. And I never, these women have never met my kid. I've never had them around my kid. My kid doesn't know about this. This is just what I do in my personal time. And, I think it's great that he was honest about that. If he had lied about it and there was evidence that he did it, the judge would have said, all right, well, yeah, you got truth-telling issues. I can't believe anything you're going to say, so I have concerns about that, right? But he was honest about it. He owned it. And, the wife had no evidence that he was letting any of this, that exposing the child to any of this. And the judge said, yeah, that's fine. That gets 50-50. I mean, he gets 50-50. He, this kid isn't in any danger. I've seen no evidence whatsoever that would show that this kid has been exposed to the prostitutes. And dad's, choices. And I'm not going to get involved in telling people what they can and can't do in their personal life. I mean, that is really huge in our society right now. Our political, social, society right now, right? We are really huge as a country on, hey, I can make my own decisions. The government is not allowed to come in and tell me things about, my personal life, my personal decisions, and my, how I want to live my life, and what my personality and what my personal set of ethics and morals and beliefs and everything are going to be. And these judges, remember, these are politically elected officials. These are people who have to run for re-election every few years. And they do not want a bunch of their decisions coming up by their competitors, by their opponents for re-election, where they are getting involved in telling people what they can and can't do in their personal lives. Now, for those of you watching who are strictly in the Title 4D child support situation, those child support hearing officers are not elected officials. So they will be a little more judgmental. So to the extent that you can remove your case from being in front of a child support hearing officer, right, and get it in front of a division circuit court judge, and the way you're going to do that is by involving child custody issues, right? And then I talk about that in other videos, and again, there's going to be a subscription offering on this channel that's going to have more in-depth videos that really get into the nitty-gritty on that, so be on the lookout for that. It's coming soon. But these elected officials, right, they want to get elected. They don't want to be beat out and lose their job because they, got overly involved with telling people how to live their lives. All right, so just to recap, so far we've got most common allegations going to be domestic violence. He's violent, he's aggressive, he's got a short fuse, so therefore he's unsafe to have all this time sharing with the kid that he's asking for. Second one is going to be, he's an alcoholic, he's a drug addict. Just remember, even if they condoned it during the relationship, it's going to be used against you. Sometimes I tell a lot of my clients, I say, hey, look, man, just while this case is going on, just be able to piss clean. Just be able to piss clean. Don't run out and don't file a clean piss test in the court docket. You're trying way too hard. Okay, just be able to piss clean. Just be able to piss clean. Maybe don't even drink. Maybe just start going to the gym more. Eat healthy, work on your six-pack a little bit, not the beer, but the one on your stomach, right? Just work on a little bit while the case is going on, do something constructive to pass the time. When the case is over, do what you do, just don't have it around the kids. Make sure it never impacts the kids. And just the other side, they've got to prove it. If you're really overboard with it, if it's something that is impacting the kids, right, it's probably going to hurt the time that you get with the kids. I mean, judge is still going to want you to have a relationship with your kids, but they're going to limit it to the extent that they are comfortable believing that your personal decisions aren't going to affect the safety of the kids, or affect the safety of the kids. Same with domestic violence. If you actually beat her ass, right, if you actually went to jail, if she really is traumatized and she's got PTSD and the whole nine, that's probably going to impact the time sharing that you get with the kids. You just be ready for that. That's your reality, and there's not a lot of ways around that unless you maybe go to therapy, maybe go to some anger management classes voluntarily, show that you're really trying, and maybe really demonstrate that, yeah, we had our problems, and I lost it a couple times. I regret it, but I've changed. And but the thing is, the kids were never around. It was never pointed at them, right? I mean, a lot of judges will say, I've seen it plenty of times where dad was found to have committed domestic violence against mom, but he still got 50-50 because the kids weren't involved or around. They weren't witnesses, the whole nine. All right, so next one that I'm going to go into is, dad's work schedule. This is the most common one. Dad travels for work all the time. Dad works nights. Dad works weekends. There's no way dad can exercise 50-50 or substantial time sharing because he works overnight or he works late or he's on the road a lot, right? Now, don't have the misconception to say, oh no, I can do 50-50 even though I travel 3 weeks out of the month. I can do 50-50 because my mom or my girlfriend or my new wife can watch the kid. Not going to work. You got to come up with a different strategy because the judges are not going to have the kid spending, substantial amounts of time with the new girlfriend or your mom or family member or something else like that, nanny. If the other parent is at home, kind of twiddling their thumbs, missing the child, and is able to be doing time sharing, and you're just gone, traveling or working overnight or whatever, the judge is going to have the kid spending that time that you're away with the other parent. They're not going to have, other third parties like, roommates, girlfriends, wives, sisters, brothers, mothers, grandmas, whatever, watching the kid. They're going to have the other parent spending that time with the kid. They should be doing the very same thing for you if the shoe's on the other foot. So if you're in a situation where you have this job where you work overnight, you work tons of weekends, you work 7 days a week, a lot of warehouse jobs, a lot of, law enforcement, firefighters, a lot of, there's a lot of professions where, you've got crazy hours. If you sell cars, if you're in a car business, retail sales, a lot of folks work tons and tons of hours. Your work schedule can be used against you in the custody case. All right, so sometimes you've really just got to do some soul searching and say, hey, you know what? Is this, I've got time with my kid and a relationship with my kid on this side, and I've got, my job that I do, and how much I like this job and how much money I make or whatever on the other side, and you got to really weigh them and see to you which one is more important. Okay, for everybody's different. Everyone's got their own reasons and their own values. But if having time with the kid is more important, then look for another job or start a damn business. This is what I love. So everybody who's listening to this, if you're working a W-2 job or you're working an under the table job or anything like that, if you don't have some plan, or some, like, if in the back of your mind there isn't a gear turning, in the background that is coming up with a game plan to at some point open your own business or come up with some sort of multiple streams of income, then I think you're missing out. I think there's a lot of potential happiness, quality of life, money that you're leaving on the table. And I'm actually in the process of starting another YouTube channel that is going to be focused on success, motivation, making money, and all that. So be on the lookout for that. When that's open, or when that channel launches, I'll link to it in the description below. But it's going to be some really good stuff. But if that's not on your mind, if that's not part of the process, think about it. Think about making it part of the process. At least if you're thinking about it in your spare time, that's where every great action starts, is you thinking about it. I know I'm getting off on a tangent here, but this plays in a lot, because if you open your own business, if you are your own boss, if you own the company, and it can be just a one-man company, right? I think probably the majority of them are, right? But you make your schedule. So you can work heavily on the days that you don't have your kid, and you can work lightly or none on the days that you do have your kid. That's where it's at. That's where it's at. And so your work schedule will absolutely be used against you if you work a lot of nights, you travel a lot. So just be on the lookout for that. Just know that it's coming. If you have 2 days a week off, then maybe, and you're unwilling to change your job because maybe it's a good job, you don't work that hard, but you make a ton of money, right? You have good benefits. Maybe you might only be able to get 2 days a week, with your kid on your days off if you work overnight or you work like 12-hour days. Because it's going to be really hard if you work 12-hour days. It's going to be really hard to arrange. Logistically, it's just going to be hard to work that out. I know I've tried thousands of times over the last 12 years. I've analyzed and argued and litigated just about every freaking scenario around this that you can imagine. And this is just the conclusions that I've come up with. And, there are options. It's just how important is the time with your kid to you personally. That's going to determine what option is going to be best for you. The last one I'm going to really touch on, and this isn't as common, but it can absolutely come up quite a bit, is new girlfriends. They're going to say, oh no, that new girlfriend, I don't know her, she's dangerous, I don't want my child being around this other girl, right? It's jealousy. They do not want to have some other girl parenting their kid. Just be ready for that, okay? Do not, if you can stay out of a new relationship until the case is over, try. But if you do have a new girlfriend, keep it on the low. Do not have her on social media. Do not have your friends knowing about her, because a new girlfriend or a new boyfriend will absolutely blow up your court case. It will blow the case wide open. Don't do it. All right. Okay. So that's all I got for today, guys. I appreciate you hanging through the end. If you like this, hit that thumbs up icon, subscribe to this channel, be on the lookout for my other channel on success. And guys, I will see you in the next one.